I feel like this was really rambly. Now you got me on a rant. Pull my notes app up. Okay. Hi, if you're new here, my name is Mel and I make thrifting and fashion content. Definitely over the last 5 years, I've acquired some best practices, at least for myself, and advice that I would give to someone who's just starting out, and I'd love to share them with you today. Really what started it for me is this is my cat's tail, sorry about that, sustainability and the environment. I really love clothes, but I also really love the earth. I think that kind of goes hand in hand because secondhand shopping isn't creating anything new, essentially. Also, I'm sorry that you might be able to hear I'm a little stuffy. I have a head cold right now, so don't mind that. Also really quick, I would love if you gave this video a like and hit subscribe. If you want to wait until after the thrift tips and see if you like them to like and subscribe, feel free. My first tip is to go through all the racks, every single one of them. Yes, you will be there for a while, but it's, I think, so worth it to really dig deep because you might have your own list of things that you're looking for, and that's awesome to have one of those to kind of keep your mind and not get like super distracted. But I think there's also something to be said for just literally going through every rack because you'll never know. You never know what you're gonna find. You could find that hidden gem that you weren't really looking for. Now, you know, it's a closet staple. That's happened to me a few times. And yeah, you're gonna hit a lot of duds. You're gonna look through a lot of ugly things, but you never know. You're gonna find that one gem that will make that thrift trip worth it. And even sizes that aren't your size, like sizes especially around your size, like if you're a medium, look through the larges and the smalls too. And I know there's some controversy around this, like me as a straight-sized person, I like to dabble in looking in the larger sizes, but I try not to and just leave those for the people who are that size. But occasionally something might catch your eye that does indeed fit you or is your size but put in the wrong, like put back in the wrong place. Especially, at least for me with pants, I am kind of like, as we all are, as women, kind of between sizes, and at least the thrift stores in my area just categorize things as small, medium, large, and like extra large and above. So I find that a lot of times with pants, sometimes they'll categorize my size things that fit me as a small, and sometimes they'll categorize them as medium. And so you kind of really have to look through all the racks, and sometimes there won't even be a size listed on the article of clothing, but they just like look at it and say, oh, this looks like a small. And then you get it into the dressing room and, you know, it's too big for you. Especially with women's jeans, they could even be tagged as your size and not fit you, or be tagged as too big or too small for you and they'll still fit you, because clothing brands are insane. So like I said, yes, it'll take a long time to go through all these racks, but it's the price you have to pay if you want to be a good thrifter. And I guess this goes into my next tip, which is allow for a lot of time when you go to the thrift. Don't go in there with like half an hour and think that you will like have a successful and like a good vibe on your thrift trip. I personally allow for at least 2 hours because I, like I said, look through everything, and then I'm so grateful and blessed to have dressing rooms at my thrift stores that I go to, so I'm able to try everything on, which then takes another probably 45 minutes or so. So even if you don't have dressing rooms though, even if you know, fill up your cart and then take it and like kind of take it to, you know, a corner or something and go through it and decide which pieces you want, that's gonna take a while. So I really would allow for at least an hour or an hour and a half. Rushing through your thrift trip just means that you're either gonna miss things because you'll be like too busy looking through the racks, or you're gonna be stressed and it's not gonna be a good vibe and you're not gonna enjoy it and you're not gonna wanna go back again. So really try to like give yourself time to relax and just enjoy looking through all these things, like feasting your eyes on these cool finds. I always try and say I'm gonna be in and out in like an hour or an hour and a half, but I feel like it always ends up taking 2 hours. So really give yourself some time to look and think critically and, you know, think about in your head, if you pick out a piece, what pieces in your wardrobe can go with it and whether or not it's going to work in your life. It all takes time. At least for me, I'm someone who needs to think through things a lot. My third tip is get familiar with how things look on hangers that fit you. Like, go in your closet and don't try anything on, but just, like, obviously it fits you. Well, it should fit you if it's in your closet. Get rid of it if it doesn't fit you. Who cares? Just get rid of it. But just take out, like, your favorite pair of pants that, like, fits you perfectly, or, like, your favorite t-shirt that just, like, really fits you well, and just, like, kind of look at it and see, like, how, you know, long the zipper is, how, like, long the inseam is, and, like, the inseam, I guess, the rise is the word I'm looking for. The way the pant leg kind of, like, looks on a hanger, whether it's, like, really wide or really narrow or somewhere in between. Take a look at the pockets and the waistband, and for a shirt, same thing. Like, just kind of figure out, commit to memory how that piece looks on a hanger. Because then when you're in the thrift store, say something catches your eye and you pull it off of the rack, and you can look at it and kind of say, hey, you know what, this zipper actually looks too short. Like, it's gonna be too low of a rise or too high of a rise, or, you know, with a long sleeve shirt, like, oh, these sleeves look a little small, or like this neckline isn't like the way I like a neckline to look. Things like that. It does save you some time. I know I just was talking about taking your time, but you're gonna be in there for a while. Any time-saving measure is actually helpful. So obviously this isn't always the case, because sometimes looks can be deceiving on a hanger and it can fit you perfectly and you think it looks bad or like looks too big or whatever. So take it with a grain of salt. I follow this rule sometimes, but sometimes I don't, and sometimes it works out. Who knows? If you are rushing and you only have half an hour or something, that's one way that you can kind of be discerning when you're looking through the racks and not have a cart full of stuff that might not even fit you, you know? If you want to even measure your pants that you like and shirts that you like and stuff, like the bust and the length and the inseam and the shoulder width and stuff. I know people do that, especially if you don't have dressing rooms. It can be really helpful to measure the waistband and then know for sure whether it fits or not. I personally find that overstimulating, I guess. Like, I don't like carrying around a measuring tape and having to pull it out every time. I'd rather just chuck it in my cart and see if it fits. Because also, depending on the composition of the fabric of that piece, it could stretch, it could not stretch. I've had times where I measured and it's like perfectly my measurements, and then I put it on, it's too tight. So take that with a grain of salt too, I guess. The more you do it, I think the easier it gets to be kind of like to critically think about a piece when you look at it. It's a good starting point to just know, you know, roughly how something would look on a hanger to cut down the number of things you have to try on. My fourth tip is know yourself. And this also comes with time. I feel like this is a big topic of discourse on YouTube and TikTok and all of the social media sites, is like knowing your personal style and how do you get to know your personal style and whether you commit to like a certain core and aesthetic or not. And I do think that is very helpful. I do think it can also be overwhelming and kind of disheartening, I guess, discouraging, to be like, well, I don't really know my style. How am I supposed to, like, where do I even begin? I love all that discourse. I think there's such a time for that discussion, and it happens over years. But in the meantime, what I've learned to do is to know what you like to wear, like pick out some most well-worn pieces in your closet and kind of think about like, what do you like about them? Like, is it stretchy? Is it soft? Does it like feel good? Does the neckline work for you? And then vice versa, things that you don't like in your closet as much, like what don't you like about it? Like, again, the neckline, the rise. No, I guess what it comes down to is knowing your red flags for clothes, that even if you like everything else about a piece, if it has one of these things, you're not gonna wear it. Knowing those red flags and really being true to yourself when you're in the fitting room, if you do have them, or even not in the fitting room, but if you're like really trying to think about this item and, oh my gosh, like it's so cute, I'll love it, but it just has this one thing. And if the one thing is something that you know you don't like, you're not gonna reach for it, and then it's gonna be a waste of your time and money. So expedites the thrift trip process, because instead of like hemming and hawing like, oh, you know, can I deal with this? Oh, I can make it work, blah, blah, blah. You can just say, nope, you know what? I'm not gonna wear that. I'm gonna leave it for someone else. I've really like kind of grown in that. There's been so many times that I've thrifted something like, oh, I'll make it work, like it'll be fine. And then it just sits in your closet for a couple years and then you donate it and never wear it. So it makes it slower in the thrift store. So that's my next tip. Tip number 5 is to wear the proper attire to go thrifting. I just broke this rule recently and I was kicking myself for it. In my last thrift trip, I wore a dress to go thrifting, and you don't really think about it, but when you're in the thrift store and you're trying things on specifically, like I want to wear pants to try on shirts and shirts to try on pants, you know, to see how it's gonna look. But if I'm wearing a dress, like I can't try it on the way I want to. I'm not gonna be able to see how it looks the way I want. But even if your thrift stores don't have fitting rooms, even down to like being comfy, I think a big part, if you're in there for an hour or two, if you have something that's uncomfortable, it's just gonna ruin the experience for you. So in many different ways, try to think about where you're going and what your experience is going to be at this thrift store and dress accordingly. For me, normally that's wearing a shirt and jeans, because jeans I wear the most, and so any shirts I'm going to try on, most of the time I want to make sure they look good with a pair of jeans. And make sure you wear the proper undergarments as well. Whatever that means for you, whatever you normally wear on a day, that's what you should wear thrifting, because clothes aren't going to look right if you don't wear what you normally wear. And it really does make a difference when you try something on and you can't try it on and really see how it looks the way you would actually wear it. I think it makes such a difference to know whether you're gonna like it or not. Like, I can't even tell whether I like a shirt or not if I'm wearing pants that are ugly, or if I'm wearing like a skirt and I should be wearing pants, or anything like that. So I think that's a really big tip that always gets me. It might seem trivial, but at least in my opinion, oh my god, I'm so sorry. I'm talking too much. At least in my opinion, it really does make a difference. My next tip is one I really have been enjoying and I do think it makes a big difference. Make sure you're shopping in all different types of avenues, essentially. Especially if you're shopping for something specific, it's gonna take a while to find the exact thing you want, and to avoid settling or to, you know, trying to make something work like we've already talked about. You kind of have to hunt for it, but I've really learned to enjoy the journey of it. What a metaphor for life, but it's true. Like, it really does feel that much better when you finally find it, and it's a fun process. Essentially what I mean is, go to big box thrift stores like Goodwill, Salvation Army, go to those. Go to Plato's Closet. Go to other consignment stores. It might be a little more pricey, but again, you'll never know, you could find the perfect thing. Use online places. I love Depop personally. I feel like there's two camps. There's either Depop or Poshmark. I am a Depop girly, but I'll check Poshmark too if I'm really looking for something specific. eBay, even. Tons of vintage clothes on there, which is so fun to look through. Etsy has some vintage stuff too that's really fun. ThredUp is another good one. And the more you kind of get to know these different avenues, the more you can kind of narrow down what you're gonna really look for in each place, like what each place is good for. Like, I know, speaking of ThredUp, I have been burned several times in the past with pants, like specifically jeans on there. They have measurements that they have, like a waist measurement and inseam. I've gotten jeans before that are completely not the right measurements, or like not the measurements that they said on, and that's like devastating. So I tend to avoid pants on ThredUp. I only really buy sweaters in person because you never know. I like my sweaters to be nice and comfy. I don't like, you know, a scratchy, as I'm sure most of us are that way. But you can't feel something if it's online, so I tend to resist the urge to thrift any sweaters or like just like comfy clothes in general online. I think Depop is really good for or Poshmark too, if you want something super, like you know what you want and you know what brand it's from, etc, etc. I had a pair of jeans that I really liked from Abercrombie & Fitch. If you've seen any number of my videos, you'll have seen the ones I'm talking about. And I wanted a pair that were lighter and also maybe not as long. And so I just went on Depop and I just typed in Abercrombie & Fitch high waist flare, and a pair came right up and I bought them immediately and they're great. So I think those specifically are really good for that. And so yeah, the more you get to know the different avenues, the more you can kind of have a strategy for how you're looking for things. I'm very fortunate to have a lot of thrift stores and consignment stores in my area, so maybe this advice doesn't apply for those of you that don't have access to those. Just go to as many places you can find. You'll never know. They don't have overlapping inventory. It's not like it's the same inventory, so the opportunities are, they just increase the more places you go. Okay, this is my fashion hot take time. My next tip is don't be afraid of fast fashion. Hear me out, okay? I have thrifted Shein in my closet. I have thrifted H&M in my closet. And although those pieces, some of them aren't in as good of shape as maybe my more quality pieces, I still wear them, and they are still comfy, and they fit the need that I need them for. Listen, the piece has already been made. Someone has already bought it, and then it ended up in the thrift store. So I don't think there's anything unethical about buying it from the thrift store because it's already sitting there. And if you don't buy it, it's just gonna end up in the landfill. And that's even worse for our planet. When you buy fast fashion at the thrift store, you're not supporting the fast fashion brand. You're supporting the thrift store, and you're supporting your own closet. Because, let's be honest, sometimes those pieces are really cute. And I hate the notion that not buying certain things based on like the perceived quality or ethics of it. Quality I say in quotations because I've seen, you know, I feel like so many thrifters these days are, like, they don't even buy anything that's polyester at all, or like they try to stick to natural fibers, which is really great. And of course those fibers are going to be more comfortable, they're going to last longer, they're, you know, safer for the water because we know that polyester and, you know, synthetic materials might release microplastics into the water when you wash them. So like that is its own kind of issue. But I think if you think a piece is cute at the thrift store and if it was a different brand you'd buy it, I think you should still buy it if it's from Shein or H&M or wherever, Amazon even. Because even if the piece doesn't last that long, you're still giving it another life and extending its life until it has to eventually end up in the landfill or whatever. I will say with shirts, the stakes are pretty low because if a shirt gets to be unwearable, if it's like an old Shein shirt or something and it has holes or stains or is just stretched out, turn it into rags. There's so many things you can do with old t-shirts that I don't agree that you shouldn't buy something at the thrift store just because it's from Shein. I know that's a hot take, but sometimes, okay, and also, now you got me on a rant, sometimes polyester or other synthetics are really soft. So I feel like any of my polyester sweaters or anything, I get a lot of wear out of them. And I think they're soft and they're comfy. They are holding up pretty well, and you just have to kind of take care of them right. And I just really think that you're giving it more life, and that's more sustainable than just leaving it behind at the thrift store to inevitably be thrown away. So I'm gonna get off my soapbox now, but seriously, don't be afraid. Don't be afraid of anything at the thrift store. No one has to know. That's the thing too. No one has to know that it's from a fast fashion brand. If someone asks you, oh, that's so cute, where'd you get it from? You can just say, it's from the thrift store. Sorry, it's one of a kind, it's from the thrift store. Like, you don't have to say, oh, it's from Shein. I have never bought new from Shein. I have, I think, 2 pieces of Shein, and both are thrifted. One I didn't know was Shein because it was on Depop, but that's a story for another day. I'm gonna get off my soapbox now and on to our last tip today, and that is picture this item in your wardrobe 1 year down the line, 3 years down the line, 10 years down the line, even if you're feeling crazy. Are you still going to be wearing it? Are you still gonna like it? I think that's such a good way to be just very like picky when it comes to the thrift store. So many times, and I've fallen into this trap many times of, you know what, this is really cute and I am gonna treat myself today. And like, that's all the justification I need. And you know what, there's a time and place for that too. But you know, then you look at your that item in your closet 6 months down the line and it's annoying to look at it. It's taking up space in your closet, and you know, you just kind of keep looking at it and looking at it, and it gets more and more annoying, and it's in the way and it's taking up room, and you know, that's not good either. Just envisioning this item of clothing or whatever hanging in your closet even 6 months down the line. Where are you going to wear it? How often are you going to wear it? Can you wear it all year? Is it for a specific season? None of these are like yes, no to buying it questions, but I think they just help to really be very picky and like discerning. You're not going to become a shopaholic and a hoarder, you know? I think this really goes also for anything you're thrifting, or anything at all, honestly, that you're purchasing that will be in your home. Like home goods, I know is a big one too, especially to thrift. Really picture where you're gonna put it in your home. Are you gonna like it a year from now? Are you gonna have this piece around for many, many years? If it's like a Christmas item, are you still gonna like it and like put it up every Christmas? It's all about being less impulsive, essentially, and really thinking for another minute about whether or not this is really going to make sense for your life. And I think you'll end up with pieces you like more, less clutter, and just overall like a better relationship with thrifting. And that is all my thrift tips. I hope this was helpful for you. I know all of these I employ and are still working to learn to employ, and I hope you can take some knowledge away from this video. Let me know in the comments what your favorite tip was, or if you have a little trick that I didn't mention here. I would love to hear all your tips. Once again, I would love if you gave this video a like and hit subscribe if you liked these tips or want to hear more from me. I would really love to be friends. And that's where I'm going to leave you. So make sure to take care of yourselves today, since we're getting a little colder here in the northern hemisphere. Stay warm out there, drink a hot cup of tea or coffee, call a friend, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye! Uh-oh, what is this hair doing? Come here. Thank you. Hi, Bob. My dog was just farting, sorry.